What if there was a safe space for you to explore artificial intelligence? What if there was a team of friendly professionals waiting to help you examine what you can do with AI in your courses? Welcome to the world of what if.
Hello everyone, thank you Lisa for introducing me. My name is Miguel Palacios and I am an instructional designer here at the Center for Online and Continuing Education. And in the previous playgrounds that we've had so far, we've explored topics of content generation and assessment with AI. But today I kind of want to pivot a little bit and go to a more simpler topic. So today we're going to explore AI for brainstorming and how we can instantly capture, expand, and organize our ideas using AI for mind mapping. Now, what is mind mapping? Do we have anyone in the room familiar? Anybody online familiar? I'm sure we do have a couple here. But a quick Google search will, we're getting a little bump there. Interesting. Ooh. So a quick Google search of what is mind mapping will show us that mind mapping is a visual technique used to organize information around a central idea or topic. Now, thankfully, we do have a person internally who's very familiar with mind mapping, our very own Dr. Judy Summers. And she has taught us in a way that basically I interpret it as like the trunk of a tree. Mind maps can help us ground our ideas as they grow into new and unexpected directions. So mind mapping is that connecting factor that really brings our ideas together, which is a really cool idea and concept. Now, what has been my experience using mind mapping? Let me tell you, when I first learned about mind mapping, I actually struggled a lot with it. I had a serious case of the blank page syndrome, and I just didn't know where to start. So it was kind of touch and go for a little while, and I found that, as much as I wanted to be doing mind mapping or using it as the tool to really brainstorm and think about things, it just wasn't happening until I learned of an AI tool called Monica. Now, Monica is the self-proclaimed all-in-one AI assistant, and based on my use of it, it is a one-stop shop that allows users to access a selection of the most popular large language models that are out there. So if you're looking to explore ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, DeepSeek, the different ones that are out there and being currently used, it's a great platform for you to compare those things and utilize them in a way before you actually commit to one or the other. Now, what I discovered using this tool is that it not only provides you with access to those LLMs through a single platform, it also has a handful of specialized tools that are available to users. You can see up there we have a writing tool, grammar detection, translation. It can even do an AI search. But the one that we're going to talk about today is the AI Mind Mapper. That skipped forward. Today's tool is Monica's AI Mind Map Maker, which is a little bit of a mouthful, but it positions itself as the tool to visualize anything using AI. So it basically generates mind maps from a single prompt or a PDF document, and even has the capability of using websites or YouTube videos as your starting point for the mind map. And I've got a link in there as you guys online are going through. If you download the slides, there are links to all of these tools that are up here. So I want to go through a couple of use cases with this tool. And the first one, which is a little bit more of a personal story, is for research and exploration. Now, a couple months ago already, I was on the market for purchasing a bicycle. And I was looking up a couple of different models of folding bikes to kind of save space and do all those things. And I was comparing the different models of a more affordable brand. And so I prompted it to generate a mind map comparing the different features of the following 4 Dayhan folding bikes. And I've got up there the Boardwalk, the Mariner, the Hit, and the Plus. And I wrote underneath that, please compare these bikes based on their tire size, gearing, frame materials, brake type, and common use cases. So what happens when you hit that Start Generate button? Well, let's see. So immediately it'll start to branch out this giant, gorgeous, like tree of possibility and information. And it'll immediately put it in a logical format, so top down, which kind of works, but sometimes it can be a little bit challenging to really get through all that information in that format. The cool thing about it is that you can click down on style and change the skeleton structure of your mind map on the fly. So this tends to be my favorite one. It's the mind map formatting, and it really spaces it out. It uses the real estate great. It's great for comparing different things. And so what I wound up with was this really great separation of these 4 bikes and different tire size, gearing, different frame materials, different brake types. And then some of the use cases and the suitable ride durations was important to me. Now, what did I learn by using this in this way? I learned that none of those bikes were the ones that I wanted to buy. And it was a confirmation. It was kind of reaffirming that I was compromising something by going with one of these 4 choices. It wasn't the original bike that I wanted, and so I kind of scrapped it all and went and bought the bike that I wanted to buy. And I think that really being able to kind of compare your apples and oranges there, it gives you a visual way of looking at that data and that information and analyzing it further. So it was really cool to be able to see this as a tool for expanding upon ideas and organizing that information. Another use case that I used a little bit later on was for visualization. And in my last semester of grad school, I was actually working in a course that was game design for instructional designers. So I got the chance to develop an educational game, which is really cool. But that's like 36 pages of concept documentation, which can be a lot to really get through. It's just bullet points and paragraphs, and you don't really know what you're in store for, what you're developing, by just looking at the blank pages and the filled pages. So I put in my concept document, and it was able to arrange the goals, the tools, and the rules of my game in a format that was really it gave me the option to change it. So I kind of went through and explored a couple here. The organizational chart is a little bit too hefty, but I found that the catalog organization gave me everything in a way that was really easy to break down and to go through. So it showed me everything that was at the core of my game that I was developing, and it was really reaffirming and verified a lot of the efforts that we had taken up to that point. From the goals of the game, separating win and loss conditions and the type of engagement that the players will take in, to what the tools are going to be and how they will apply or they will acquire those tools and manage those tools, to the actual setup of the game and the player's actions on a turn-to-turn basis. So what I learned here is that putting information in a visual format and being able to switch that can help you understand what you're looking at a little bit deeper. It gives you another perspective, and that was really useful in my case because after building this big document conceptualizing the game, I didn't really understand at that point if it was all fitting together in a way that made sense. And that mind map really helped me to see that. Now that was a lot of information, and I went through that a lot. And we're going to switch over to a live demo, but I want to pause here and allow opportunity for any questions in person, in the room, or online. So I'm going to bring up the demonstration now, and if any questions come on, we can answer those.
Please, how is mind mapping different from concept mapping?
So concept mapping and mind mapping are kind of 2 birds of the same feather. They're very similar. I would say concept mapping in a way is more structured than mind mapping. Mind mapping is like you're doodling notes. You're really kind of capturing ideas and connecting them to a central idea, which I feel like even in just saying that, it sounds like concept mapping. So they're kind of 2 sides of the same coin, and it really depends, I think, on the environment that you're in or who you're talking to. And they're kind of interchangeable. Does that answer the question? Cool. So I want to move now into a quick demonstration. I'm going to demonstrate both the use of the single prompt and the uploading of a PDF document. So I'm going to start off with this simple prompt where I'm going to ask it to help me break down the concept of play-based learning for adults. And we'll kind of see what it gives us. So small little tiny prompt, almost nothing really. And if I click Start Generate, it immediately builds it out into this map. It's the equivalent of what ChatGPT would give you in a paragraph, but in a map. So that's really nice. And for me as a visual learner, it really is a huge benefit to me because it allows me to kind of separate those ideas and segment them almost immediately. And like I mentioned before, you can kind of pick a few different skeletons for that. I always like to go to mind map because I think it uses the most real estate and really can help you see everything. And so we have these initial ideas. We have it separated by the different aspects of play-based learning. And if I see something on here, if I see we have the methods, so we have simulation games, role-playing activities, creative arts and crafts, and group challenges, I can take any of those nodes, those child nodes, and then have it generate and extrapolate that idea into more. So this can kind of quickly become a rabbit hole. And of course, we'll go through and, if given a lot of time, you can verify all of the information and kind of prune and expand as you see fit. But for this demonstration, I really just kind of wanted to show through that it can take simulation games and pull it out even further. And if I even wanted to, do some examples of applications, I can then take and insert a child node, and we can call it examples of play-based learning. And let's see if that gives us anything different. But I just want to show you how quickly you can add and expand. It's like almost instantaneous. And it's really, really kind of puts you in a place of power with exploration. It just feels very, very big. So, this is kind of what I've got now. It's a big, giant map, and it's kind of getting a little unruly. But I want to switch gears and show you what happens when you upload a document to this AI tool and show you kind of some of the pruning and the expanding that can be done. So for the document, I did a paper in my last 2 semesters of grad school on flow-based activity and andragogy, so adult learning and the flow experience. So I wanted to upload that in there and just see what it comes back with, because this is a paper that I know I wrote it. So I want to see how AI is interpreting those ideas and connecting them. Once again, it'll put it in a logical format. I already see a couple of things that I really don't feel like I need. I don't need the introduction, purpose of reading, personal experience in the author. We really don't need that in this setup, so I'm going to actually click and delete that node. And that's what I meant about pruning and expanding. It's such an interesting tool. References, maybe later on if I were to publish this, but we don't need that there. So now we have these 3 branches, and we can kind of expand them as we see fit. For this one, I really like the catalog organization. It kind of puts things in a very visual format for me. So we'll go here and we'll expand. So now we have a summary of the work that I've done, the concept of optimal experience, and what it's defined as, the mastery of consciousness, examples of flow, conditions for flow, and the application of flow. So we can put here in work and relationships, we can expand that to give examples. So I'm going to actually, let's insert a child, and we'll do examples of flow in work and relationships. And then we will expand that. So we have more branches kind of coming out, So team collaboration, job crafting, feedback mechanisms, work-life balance, these are all things that it's citing from itself. And you know, we can kind of take and expand these ideas or contract them as much as we want. So, you know, that's kind of the gist of the tool. It's really neat. And I think that to really map out this idea, and you can see that this is kind of getting a little unruly and could probably use some pruning. But with that, that is kind of the demonstration and the tool that I'm showing you today. In my presentation, you'll see the links to it, so definitely feel free to try it out. And I know we're a department that prides ourselves on not giving homework to the people that we work with, but I am going to leave you all with some homework today. I would love for you, if you get the chance, to open up the tool and upload a file or a video or a website that you're familiar with and see what the mind map maker creates. See if it creates something that is familiar to you or is something that you can utilize or expand upon, and reflect on what the visualization presents. Reflect on what that experience is and think about how that changes your perception of the content that you have uploaded. You know, an example could be a research paper or a presentation, and just see what it spits out.